The great hall on Nexus Prime buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from across the galaxy sat in their specially designed chairs, each made for their unique biology. The air recyclers worked overtime to handle the mix of breathing gases that 17 different species required. Commander Veltar stepped onto the central platform, his scales catching the artificial light. The reptilian hegemony's top military mind had called this emergency meeting, and everyone knew why. The holographic display behind him showed a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. "Honored colleagues," Veltar began, his voice translated instantly into dozens of languages. "We have a problem." The hall fell silent. Even the insectoid delegates stopped their constant chittering. "Earth," Veltar continued, gesturing at the image. "Third planet from a minor star in what the locals call the Milky Way galaxy. Population, approximately 8 billion humans. Technology level primitive by our standards. No faster than light travel. Limited space exploration. Their most advanced weapons are crude chemical explosives and simple energy weapons." Admiral Crix, the Confederation's leading military strategist, raised one of her forearms. "Commander, why are we discussing such a backwater world? Surely there are more pressing matters." Veltar's yellow eyes gleamed. "Because, Admiral, in the past 50 years, 17 different civilizations have attacked this backwater world. Not one has ever returned." The silence that followed was deafening. Several delegates looked at each other with confusion and growing alarm. 17? Minister Zul's crystalline voice rang through the chamber. "That seems impossible." "The Zephyrians were first," Veltar explained, bringing up holographic records. "They encountered Earth during their expansion into that sector. Initial contact was peaceful. The humans seemed friendly, even eager to learn about galactic civilization. The Zephyrians reported that the humans appeared weak and divided, fighting among themselves constantly. The display showed images of human cities, human soldiers, human weapons. Everything looked primitive compared to galactic standard technology. This Zephyrian commander decided Earth would be an easy conquest. Rich resources, large population for slave labor, and minimal resistance expected. They sent their third fleet, 500 ships, including 2 of their largest battlecruisers. "And?" prompted Admiral Crix. "Nothing. Complete silence. The last transmission was them entering the Earth's solar system. After 6 months with no contact, the Zephyrians sent scouts. They found debris fields in the outer system, but no intact ships. No survivors, no data on what happened." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The Zephyrians were known for their military strength. Their third fleet could have conquered most civilized worlds. "The Korvaxi tried next," Veltar continued. "They thought the Zephyrians had been careless. The Korvaxi spent 2 years studying Earth from a distance. They mapped every military installation, counted every weapon, analyzed every transmission. Their conclusion was the same: primitive humans with obsolete technology." The holographic display shifted to show Korvaxi battle reports. Their insectoid ships were smaller than Zephyrian vessels but much faster and more maneuverable. The Korvaxi sent their 7th swarm, 300 ships all equipped with their latest weapons. They planned a quick strike to cripple human resistance, then a systematic occupation. Veltar paused. The result was identical. Total silence after entering Earth's system. No survivors found. Admiral Crix leaned forward in her chair. "What about the others?" The pattern repeated 16 more times. The hegemony of Trill sent raiders thinking stealth would work better than direct assault. Gone. The synthetic collective tried using robot ships to avoid biological casualties. Gone. The psionic dominion believed their mental powers would let them control human minds easily. Gone. The list continued. Each species had thought they found the solution. Each had failed completely. The most recent attempt was 3 years ago, Veltar said. The Void Hunters sent their best assassination fleet. 50 ships designed specifically for eliminating entire species quickly and quietly. They specialized in hunting primitive worlds. He paused dramatically. Not one ship returned. Minister Zul's crystalline form shifted colors, showing deep concern. What do our intelligence networks say about these humans? That is the strangest part, Veltar replied. Human civilization appears unchanged. They still fight among themselves. Their technology still seems primitive. Their space capabilities remain limited to their own star system. Yet somehow they destroy every fleet sent against them. Could they have secret allies, suggested a delegate from the Aquatic Federation. Perhaps one of the major powers is protecting them. We investigated that possibility, Veltar said. No evidence of any outside interference. No advanced weapon signatures, no traces of non-human technology in the debris fields. Admiral Crick stood up, her forearms crossed thoughtfully. What about survivors? Prisoners? Surely some information must have escaped. That is perhaps the most disturbing aspect, Veltar admitted. In every case, we found evidence of major battles in Earth's outer solar system. Debris fields, energy discharge patterns, wreckage from both human and alien vessels. But we never found any human ships intact enough to study. And more importantly, we never found any survivors from either side. The implication hit the assembly hard. Complete annihilation on both sides suggested incredibly vicious fighting. What about human casualties? Asked Minister Zul. Unknown. Humans do not broadcast detailed casualty reports to space. Their public communications mention defense actions and successful repulsion of threats, but never specific numbers. So they could be losing millions in these battles? Possibly. But here is what troubles me most. Their population continues to grow. Their cities show no signs of major damage. Their military appears stronger after each attack, not weaker. The hall erupted in worried conversations. The mathematics did not make sense. A primitive world should not be able to defeat advanced fleets without massive casualties and infrastructure damage. I have a theory, Admiral Crix announced, cutting through the noise. What if these humans are not as primitive as they appear? Elaborate, Veltar requested. Deception. What if their apparent backwardness is deliberate? What if they want us to think they are weak? To what end? Think about it. 17 fleets have attacked them. 17 different technologies, weapon systems, tactical approaches. Each time the humans would have opportunities to study their attackers, learn their weaknesses, adapt their defenses. The suggestion sent chills through the assembly. A species that deliberately appeared weak to lure in attackers was a terrifying concept. That would make them incredibly patient, strategic thinkers, Minister Zul observed. Planning decades ahead, sacrificing lives to maintain their deception. Or they could simply be unusually adaptable, suggested another delegate. Some species learn faster under pressure. Perhaps humans are naturally gifted at reverse engineering captured technology. There is one way to find out, Admiral Crix said firmly. We send a reconnaissance mission, not an invasion fleet, just scouts with advanced stealth capabilities. We observe without engaging. We learn what really happened to those 17 fleets. Veltar nodded slowly. And if we discover humans are indeed more dangerous than they appear? Then we have two choices. We either avoid them completely, or we prepare for the largest military campaign in galactic history. Or, Minister Zul interjected quietly, we try diplomacy. Several delegates laughed at this suggestion. The crystalline beings were known for their peaceful nature, but the idea of negotiating with a species that had destroyed 17 fleets seemed absurd. Diplomacy requires both sides to be willing to talk, Admiral Crix pointed out. The humans have never attempted to communicate with the galaxy. They seem content to stay in their system and destroy anyone who approaches with hostile intent. Perhaps because everyone who has approached them has been hostile, Minister Zul replied. What if someone tried peaceful contact? The Zephyrians reported their first contact was peaceful, Veltar reminded them. The humans were friendly and curious. It was only after the Zephyrians decided to conquer them that the violence began. Which supports my theory, Crix said. The humans may be defensive rather than aggressive. They do not expand into other systems or threaten other species. They simply eliminate anything they perceive as a threat. The debate continued for hours. Some delegates wanted to avoid the Earth system entirely. Others argued for a massive preemptive strike before the humans could become an even greater threat. A few supported Minister Zul's suggestion of peaceful contact. Finally, Veltar called for order. I propose we vote on Admiral Crix's reconnaissance mission. We send our best stealth vessels to observe Earth's defenses without engaging. Once we understand what we are dealing with, we can make an informed decision about how to proceed. The vote was close, but it passed. Admiral Crix would lead a small fleet of the Confederation's most advanced spy ships to the Earth system. Their mission was simple. Find out what happened to 17 attack fleets and determine if humanity posed a threat to galactic civilization. As the assembly dispersed, Veltar remained on the platform, staring at the image of Earth. Something about the small blue world bothered him. In all his years of Captain Lee Minho stood on the roof of his apartment building in Seoul, looking up at the night sky. 3 years had passed since the Zephyrian invasion, but he still found himself scanning the stars for signs of alien ships. Old habits from a soldier, he supposed. His phone buzzed with a message from Dr. Park Ji-won at the research facility. Remember our first visitors? The anniversary documentary wants to interview us tomorrow. Minho smiled grimly. First visitors. That was a polite way to describe the species that had tried to enslave humanity. He remembered that day perfectly. It had started like any other morning in Seoul. Traffic jams, people rushing to work, the usual chaos of 8 million humans trying to get through their daily lives. Then the ships appeared. They materialized over major cities worldwide at exactly noon, local time in each zone. Massive vessels that cast shadows over entire districts. The Zephyrians had clearly wanted to make an impression. At first, everyone thought it was humanity's greatest moment. First contact with an alien civilization. The news channels went crazy with excitement. Scientists gathered in emergency sessions. World leaders prepared speeches about humanity's entry into a galactic community. The aliens had seemed friendly enough initially. They broadcast messages in perfect Korean, English, Mandarin, Spanish, and dozens of other languages. Their translator technology was impressive, learning human languages within hours of receiving television and radio signals. Greetings, people of Earth, the alien commander had said during his first broadcast. I am Fleet Commander Zax of the Zephyrian Republic. We come in peace, seeking to welcome a new species into galactic civilization. The ship that landed in Seoul's Han River Park was beautiful in an alien way. Sleek lines, obviously advanced technology, but not threatening. The Zephyrian delegation that emerged looked almost reptilian, but walked upright like humans. They wore ceremonial robes rather than military uniforms. Captain Minho had been part of the security detail that day. Lieutenant Choi Yuna handled communications, while Colonel Kim Tae-hyung coordinated with other world governments. Dr. Park Ji-won led the scientific team studying the visitors. They seemed genuinely peaceful, Dr. Park had reported after the first day of meetings. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours, but they are sharing basic information freely. They want to establish trade relationships and cultural exchange. For 2 weeks, everything went perfectly. The Zephyrians toured Earth's major cities, met with world leaders, and shared stories about other species in the galaxy. They seemed impressed by human art, music, and literature. They laughed at human jokes and showed genuine curiosity about human culture. Then Lieutenant Yuna intercepted the message that changed everything. Captain, she had called urgently during the 3rd week of contact. You need to hear this transmission. It was not meant for our receivers. The message was from Fleet Commander Zax to his superiors, broadcast in the Zephyrian language. Dr. Park's team had been working on translation software, and they had made enough progress to understand the basic meaning. The humans are even weaker than our initial assessment suggested, Zax reported. They have no unified government, no single military command, and their weapons are centuries behind ours. Their largest nuclear weapons could barely damage our smallest escort vessels. They show no evidence of energy shields, plasma weapons, or even basic space-to-surface defense systems. The recording continued with detailed analysis of human weaknesses. The Zephyrians had been conducting reconnaissance while pretending to engage in cultural exchange. I recommend immediate conquest rather than the planned gradual integration. Their population is large enough for excellent slave labor, and their planet has resources we need. With their primitive military, we could complete occupation within one local month. Captain Minho felt his blood turn cold as he listened to the rest of the message. The Zephyrians were not peaceful explorers. They were scouts preparing for invasion. What do we do? Lieutenant Yuna asked. Do we confront them? Alert the world governments? We do both, Colonel Kim decided. But carefully. If they realize we intercepted their communications, they might attack immediately. The next few days were tense. World leaders met in emergency sessions while maintaining the pretense that everything was normal. Military forces quietly moved into position around Zephyrian landing sites. Scientists worked frantically to analyze alien technology from the samples the visitors had shared. Dr. Park Jaiwan made the first breakthrough. Their energy systems are incredibly advanced, but they have a critical vulnerability, she explained, to the military commanders. They rely entirely on a central power core for each ship. If we can overload those cores, their entire vessels would be disabled. How do we overload them? Colonel Kim asked. Electromagnetic pulse weapons, but much more powerful than anything we currently have. We would need to modify our nuclear weapons to generate focused EMP bursts. How long would that take? With the alien technology samples, maybe 2 weeks. The hard part is getting close enough to their ships to deploy the weapons. Meanwhile, Captain Minho was studying Zephyrian behavior patterns. They are overconfident, he observed. They do not post guards around their ships. They walk through our cities without escorts. They truly believe we are no threat to them. That could work in our favor, Colonel Kim agreed. But we need more intelligence about their fleet strength and battle capabilities. Lieutenant Yuna provided that intelligence by continuing to intercept Zephyrian communications. They have 50 ships in this system, she reported. 30 combat vessels, 20 support ships. But here is the interesting part. This is just an advance force. Their main fleet is still several weeks away. So if we strike now, we face 50 ships instead of 500, Captain Minho calculated. Exactly. But we have to act before their main fleet arrives, and before they realize we know their intentions. The decision to strike came when the Zephyrians delivered an ultimatum. They dropped their peaceful pretense and demanded Earth's surrender. Fleet Commander Zax appeared on every television and radio broadcast simultaneously. People of Earth, you will submit to Zephyrian authority immediately. Your governments will transfer all military command to us within 24 hours. Resistance is futile. Your weapons cannot harm our ships, and your military forces are no match for ours. To emphasize their point, they destroyed an abandoned military base in each major country using energy weapons from orbit. The demonstrations were precisely targeted, causing no casualties but proving their technological superiority. What the Zephyrians did not know was that humans had spent 3 weeks preparing for exactly this moment. The counterattack began at dawn in Seoul. Captain Minho led his team to the Zephyrian ship in Han River Park, while similar operations launched worldwide. Dr. Park's modified EMP weapons were in position around each landing site. Remember, Colonel Kim broadcast to all strike teams, these devices will only work at close range. You have to get within 100 meters of their power cores. The assault was unlike anything in human military history. Instead of trying to match alien technology directly, human forces used tactics the Zephyrians could not comprehend. Captain Minho's team approached the Seoul ship through the city's subway system. Lieutenant Yuna had mapped the underground tunnels that passed near the landing site. They emerged from manholes around the ship's perimeter, carrying Dr. Park's experimental weapons. The Zephyrians were completely unprepared for this type of attack. They had energy shields designed to stop plasma bolts and missile impacts, but they had never considered humans crawling through sewers to plant electromagnetic bombs. Charges in position, Captain Minho reported as his team reached the ship's hull. The Zephyrian guards were looking outward for conventional attacks, not checking directly beneath their vessel. Simultaneously, teams around the world reported ready. The coordinated strike had to be perfect. If even one ship survived, It could. Warn the approaching main fleet. Execute in 3, 2, 1. Now. The modified EMP weapons detonated worldwide at precisely the same moment. The electromagnetic pulses were focused and intensified by alien technology components, creating exactly the effect Dr. Park had predicted. Every Zephyrian ship went dark instantly. Their power cores overloaded, their weapons systems failed, their communications arrays went silent. In 60 seconds, the entire advance fleet was reduced to inert metal hulks. But that was only the beginning. The main fleet will detect the loss of contact. Colonel Kim broadcast to all units. We have maybe 6 hours before they arrive. Phase 2 begins now. Phase 2 was even more audacious than Phase 1. Using captured Zephyrian technology, human teams boarded the disabled ships to learn everything possible about alien military capabilities. Dr. Park led scientists in a frantic effort to reverse engineer advanced weapons and defenses. Meanwhile, Captain Minho coordinated with military units worldwide to salvage usable alien equipment. Strip everything, he ordered. Weapons, sensors, communication devices, life support systems. We need to understand how all of it works. The breakthrough came when Lieutenant Yuna managed to access the Zephyrian fleet database. I have their tactical information, she announced. Ship specifications, weapon capabilities, and most importantly, the approach route of their main fleet. The Admiral Crix floated in the zero-gravity command chamber of her stealth ship, watching the holographic display with growing unease. Her reconnaissance fleet had been observing Earth's solar system for 6 weeks, and what they discovered challenged everything the Galactic Confederation thought they knew about humans. Admiral, you need to see this, her tactical officer reported, highlighting a section of the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. We found the Corvaxi debris field. The display zoomed in on a cluster of twisted metal and crystallized organic matter floating in the cold vacuum. Even after years in space, the wreckage was clearly recognizable as Corvaxi battle swarm vessels. How many ships? Crix asked. Approximately 300, matching the reported size of their 7th swarm. But Admiral, look at the damage patterns. The GO analysis was disturbing. The Corvaxi ships had not been destroyed by human weapons. They had been torn apart by their own technology. Scorch marks and energy signatures showed that the insectoid vessels had turned on each other in a massive friendly fire incident. The humans somehow caused them to attack their own fleet, Crix concluded. How is that possible? Unknown, but there's more. We detected 17 different debris fields throughout the system. Each one tells a different story of defeat. Over the following days, Crix's team examined the wreckage from each failed invasion. The pattern that emerged was terrifying in its implications. The Zephyrian fleet had been disabled by electromagnetic weapons, then destroyed in close combat. The Synthetic Collective's robot ships showed evidence of computer virus infections that turned their own systems against them. The psionic Dominion's vessels were found with their psychic amplifiers overloaded, suggesting the humans had somehow reflected mental attacks back at the attackers. Each species was defeated using their own strengths against them, Crix observed during a strategy meeting with her officers. The humans studied each attacker and found precise countermeasures. But that would require incredible adaptability and learning speed, her science officer noted. Most species need decades to understand alien technology, let alone weaponize it. Perhaps humans are naturally gifted at reverse engineering, suggested the tactical officer. Some species have enhanced pattern recognition abilities. Crix was not convinced. The level of technological adaptation shown in the debris fields went beyond natural talent. It suggested systematic study and preparation. Take us closer to Earth, she ordered. Maximum stealth protocols. I want to observe their current capabilities. What they found in Earth's inner system was even more shocking than the debris fields. Hidden construction facilities orbited Earth at precise locations that would be invisible to casual observation. Massive shipyards worked continuously, building vessels that incorporated technology from all 17 defeated invasion fleets. Those are definitely human ships, the tactical officer reported. But look at the design elements. Zephyrian hull plating, Corvaxi propulsion systems, synthetic collective targeting computers, psionic dominion sensor arrays. The humans had not simply captured alien technology, they had integrated it into their own military systems. Ships that looked roughly human on the outside carried the best features of 17 different alien civilizations. How many vessels are they building? Crix asked. Current count shows approximately 2,000 ships under construction, with another 500 already completed and conducting training exercises in the outer system. The numbers were staggering. In 3 years, humanity had gone from a planet with no interstellar capabilities to a naval force that could challenge most galactic powers. Admiral, we have identified several key individuals, the intelligence officer reported. General Han Jisoo appears to be their supreme military commander. Engineer Nam Seunghwan leads their technology integration programs. Captain Song Myung is test piloting their most advanced fighters. Crix studied the human personnel files her team had compiled. What she saw defied galactic expectations about primitive species. General Han Jisoo had reorganized Earth's entire military structure. Within months of the Zephyrian invasion, instead of competing national forces, humanity now had a unified defense command that coordinated resources across the entire planet. The speed of that transformation was remarkable for any species, let alone one supposedly divided by tribal conflicts. Engineer Nam Seunghwan's work was even more impressive. He had not only reverse-engineered alien technology, but improved upon it. Human-built versions of Zephyrian energy weapons were more efficient than the originals. Their adaptations of Korvaxi engines were faster and more reliable than the ships. They were copied from Captain Song Myung was perhaps the most troubling example of human adaptation. She was currently flight testing a fighter that incorporated flight systems from 6 different alien species, weapons from 4 others, and defensive systems that no single galactic civilization had ever achieved. Show me her test flight data, Crix requested. The tactical display showed Captain Song's latest training exercise. Her hybrid fighter was sparring against simulation drones programmed with the combat patterns of various alien species. The human pilot defeated every opponent using tactics specifically designed to exploit each species' weaknesses. She knows how to fight all of them, Crix realized with growing alarm. The humans have studied our military doctrine from the wreckage of those fleets. It gets worse, Admiral. The intelligence officer continued. We detected communication intercepts that suggest they know about us. The blood in Crix's veins turned cold. Explain. Human sensor networks detected our arrival 3 weeks ago. They have been allowing us to observe them while feeding us carefully selected information. They want us to see their capabilities. Are you saying this entire reconnaissance mission is a trap? Not a trap, Admiral, a message. The evidence was clear once they looked for it. Human sensor arrays had been tracking their stealth ships from the moment they entered the solar system. The construction facilities they had observed were positioned specifically to be visible to someone watching from their current location. The training exercises were timed to demonstrate human combat capabilities against alien technology. The humans knew they were being observed, and they were deliberately showing off their strength. Admiral, the communications officer called urgently, we are receiving a transmission on our emergency frequency. It is addressed to the Confederation Reconnaissance Fleet currently hiding behind asteroid 2847 Delta. Crix felt her 4 hearts skip several beats. The humans knew exactly where they were. Put it on the main display, she ordered. The holographic projector showed the image of General Han Jisoo standing in what appeared to be a command center. Behind him, tactical displays showed the positions of Crix's entire fleet with perfect accuracy. Greetings, Admiral Crix of the Galactic Confederation, General Han said in perfect galactic standard language. I am General Han Jisoo, Supreme, Commander of Earth Defense Forces. I believe you have some questions about the fate of our previous visitors. The fact that he knew her name and rank was terrifying. The humans had identified not just her ships, but her personally. We have been expecting your arrival for some time, the general continued. Please understand we mean you no harm. Your mission is reconnaissance, not invasion, so you pose no threat to Earth or its people. However, I thought you might benefit from a more complete understanding of recent events. The display changed to show a detailed tactical analysis of the 17 failed invasions. Each attack was broken down step by step, showing exactly how the humans had defeated forces with overwhelming technological advantages. The Zephyrians underestimated our electromagnetic warfare capabilities, General Han explained. The Korvaxi did not expect us to hack their swarm coordination systems. The synthetic collective never considered that we might develop computer viruses specifically designed for artificial intelligence networks. The presentation continued with clinical precision. Each alien defeat was analyzed not as a desperate battle, but as a calculated victory achieved through superior intelligence and preparation. We learned something valuable from each encounter, General Han continued. Military technology, manufacturing, techniques, scientific principles, and tactical doctrine. But more importantly, we learned about the galactic community that had been hidden from us. The display showed star maps with trade routes, political boundaries, and military strength. Assessments for dozens of alien civilizations. The humans had not just defeated their attackers, they had extracted complete intelligence about galactic civilization from captured databases. We now understand that Earth is located in a region where several major powers compete for resources and territory. Our planet's location and resources make us valuable to various factions. Based on analysis of attack patterns, we calculate a 67% probability that more invasion attempts will occur within the next 5 years. Crix realized the humans had not just defended themselves, they had conducted a comprehensive threat analysis of the entire galaxy. Therefore, we have taken steps to ensure our continued independence, General Han announced. Earth's defense forces now include technology and tactical knowledge from 17 different species. Our manufacturing capacity can produce advanced military equipment at Arati. Admiral Crix felt the familiar weight of acceleration as her fleet prepared to jump to faster-than-light speeds. After 6 weeks of reconnaissance in Earth's solar system, she was eager to return to Confederation space with her disturbing report about human capabilities. Admiral, we have a problem, her navigation officer announced from across the command chamber. FTL drives are not responding. All jump calculations are showing error codes. Crix's 4 hearts began beating faster. Equipment failures were rare on Confederation ships, especially on multiple vessels simultaneously. Run full diagnostics on all systems. Already in progress, but Admiral, I don't think this is a mechanical failure. Before Crix could ask what he meant, the main display activated without being commanded. General Han Jisu's face appeared, but this time he was not alone. Behind him stood several other humans in military uniforms. Admiral Crix, I apologize for the deception, but we could not allow you to leave just yet, General Han said calmly. We have more to discuss. You are jamming our FTL drives, Crix accused, though she tried to hide her growing fear. Jamming is such an crude term, replied a woman standing beside General Han. I am Major Lim Dayun, and my specialty is psychological operations. We prefer to think of this as an extended conversation. A third human stepped forward. Commander, Min Seok, Strategic Planning Division. Admiral, we have been analyzing Confederation military doctrine based on data extracted from your ship's computers during the past 6 weeks. The implications hit Crix like a physical blow. You have been inside our systems this entire time? From the moment you entered this solar system, Commander O confirmed. Human computer specialists have had considerable practice with alien networks. We have reverse-engineered 17 different types of computer systems over the past 3 years. The display changed to show detailed schematics of Confederation ship designs, weapons specifications, and tactical manuals. Information that should have been classified at the highest levels was laid out for examination. How is this possible? Crix demanded. Confederation encryption is unbreakable. Major Lim smiled coldly. Every encryption system has weaknesses, Admiral. We have had access to synthetic collective artificial intelligence networks, psionic dominion, mental processing matrices, and quantum computing cores from a dozen different species. Breaking your codes was simply a matter of applying the right combination of techniques. What do you want from us? Information, General Han replied. You see, Admiral, Your reconnaissance mission was not as secret as you believed. We detected Confederation intelligence gathering activities on Nexus Prime months ago. We knew someone would eventually come looking for answers about those 17 missing fleets. Commander O stepped forward again. We have been preparing for your arrival and the larger fleet that will inevitably follow. Our strategic models predict a 78% probability that the Confederation will launch a preemptive strike against Earth within the next 2 years. That is why we needed to examine your capabilities firsthand. Major Lim added. Your ships, your weapons, your tactical doctrine, and most importantly, your psychological profiles. The display showed detailed analysis of every member of Crix's crew, including personal histories, psychological evaluations, and behavioral predictions. The humans had not just hacked their computers, they had profiled everyone aboard. This is impossible, Crix protested. Psychological analysis requires months of observation and testing. Under normal circumstances, yes, Major Lim agreed. But we have access to personnel files from 17 different military organizations. We have studied the psychological patterns of hundreds of alien species. Predicting individual behavior is now a standardized process. General Han moved to a different control panel. Admiral, I want to show you something that might change your perspective on this situation. The display shifted to show the space around Earth, but from a much wider perspective than Crix's instruments had detected. What she saw made her blood run cold. Human warships surrounded her reconnaissance fleet at multiple levels. Vessels that incorporated technology from all 17 defeated invasions were positioned at strategic points throughout the solar system. Her stealth ships were completely encircled by forces that could destroy them instantly. You have been inside our defensive perimeter for 6 weeks, Commander O explained. We allowed you to observe our construction facilities and training exercises because we wanted you to understand our capabilities, but we also wanted to study yours. The question now, General Han continued, is what happens next. We can allow you to return to Confederation space with the intelligence you have gathered, or we can detain you permanently to prevent you from reporting our true capabilities. Crix felt her command slipping away. You would risk war with the entire Confederation by attacking our ships? War is already inevitable, Admiral, Major Lim replied. The Confederation cannot allow Earth to remain independent now that we have demonstrated advanced military capabilities. Your political structure requires either conquest or elimination of potential threats. How could you possibly know our political structure? Because we have studied it extensively through captured databases and communication intercepts. The Confederation maintains power through a careful balance of member species, none of which can challenge central authority. A unified, technologically advanced human civilization disrupts that balance. Commander O brought up additional displays showing Confederation political analysis. Your government faces 3 options regarding Earth. Conquest, which removes us as a threat. Alliance, which requires admitting humans as equals in galactic civilization. Or elimination, which prevents future complications. Based on historical patterns of Confederation behavior with emerging species, conquest is the most likely choice, General Han concluded. Which brings us to the current situation. The display changed again to show Admiral Crix herself, surrounded by detailed psychological and behavioral analysis. Her service record, personal relationships, and decision-making patterns were laid out with clinical precision. You are known for your strategic thinking and careful analysis, Major Lim observed. Your recommendations carry significant weight in Confederation military planning. Whatever you report about Earth will heavily influence their response. That is why we arranged this demonstration, Commander O explained. We want you to understand exactly what the Confederation would face in any military action against Earth. This conversation is being recorded and will be included in your official report, General Han added. Your superiors will see that we had the capability to destroy your entire fleet, but chose dialogue instead. Crix realized the trap she was in. If she reported human weakness, the Confederation would launch an invasion that would fail catastrophically. If she reported human strength, they might launch an even larger invasion or attempt to eliminate Earth entirely. What do you expect me to tell them? She asked. The truth, General Han replied simply. Earth has become a significant military power through adaptive defense against multiple invasions. We pose no threat to Confederation territory or member species, but we will defend ourselves against any aggression. And if they decide to eliminate the threat before it grows larger? Major Lim smiled grimly. Admiral, do you really think Earth's solar system contains our only military assets? The display changed to show star maps with human presence indicators scattered across nearby systems. Supply bases, listening posts, and defensive installations had been established throughout the local region during the past 3 years. While the Confederation was debating what to do about the missing fleets, we were establishing strategic positions across a 50-light-year radius, Commander O explained. Any invasion of Earth would face harassment from multiple directions. You are spread too thin, Crix protested. No species can effectively defend such a large area with limited resources. Normally you would be correct, General Han agreed. But we have advantages that other species lack. We learned mobility from the Korvaxi, stealth from the Void Hunters, supply efficiency from the Synthetic Collective, and strategic coordination from the Zephyrians. More importantly, Major Lim added, we learned patience from all of them. Human strategic thinking operates on longer timescales than most galactic species. We are willing to spend decades preparing for threats that might not materialize for generations. The psychological profiles displayed on the screen supported her statement. Human decision-making patterns showed consistent long-term planning and sacrifice of immediate benefits for future advantages. Admiral, General Han said seriously, I am going to share something with you that we have never told any of our previous visitors. Earth was not the only human world. Crix felt her perception of reality shift again. What do you mean? Humanity has been exploring space longer than the galaxy realized. We established colonies in other systems centuries ago, but kept them secret to avoid attracting attention. The invasion attempts against Earth were intended to cripple human expansion, but they only accelerated it. The display showed additional human settlements scattered across multiple star systems, each one developing its own specialized capabilities and defenses. The colonies have been sharing intelligence and technology. Admiral Crix stood in the Great Hall of Nexus Prime, her reconnaissance report displayed on holographic screens around the assembled Confederation Council. The evidence she had brought back from Earth created an uncomfortable silence among the galactic representatives. This cannot be accurate, Commander Veltar protested, studying the tactical analysis. No species develops this rapidly. These humans claim to have built a fleet that rivals our combined forces in less than 3 years. I have verified every detail personally, Crix replied firmly. The humans not only allowed us to observe their capabilities, they demonstrated them specifically for our benefit. They wanted us to see what they have become. Minister Zul's crystalline form shifted to deep blue, indicating serious concern. If this intelligence is correct, we face a species that has weaponized adaptation itself. They grow stronger from every attack. Which is why, came a new voice from the chamber entrance, the Confederation must choose its next action very carefully. Every head in the assembly turned toward the speaker. A human male in formal diplomatic attire walked calmly into the center of the chamber, flanked by 2 other humans in military uniforms. I am President Yoon Sung-min of United Earth, the man announced. This is Ambassador Shin Yoonji, our first interstellar diplomatic representative, and Dr. Kang Hyunwoo, our specialist in xenopsychology. The hall erupted in shocked conversation. Security forces moved to intercept the uninvited guests, but President Yoon raised his hand peacefully. Please, there is no need for alarm. We come seeking dialogue, not conflict. Admiral Crix's report was quite accurate. We could have destroyed her fleet at any point during her reconnaissance mission. The fact that we chose not to should indicate our genuine desire for peaceful relations. Commander Veltar activated his personal weapon, but found it would not respond. How did you get past our security systems? The same way we tracked Admiral Crix's mission from its planning stages, Ambassador Shin replied calmly. We have been monitoring Confederation communications for months. Your security systems use technology derived from species we defeated, Years ago. This is impossible, Minister Zul declared. Nexus Prime is protected by defenses from a dozen different civilizations. Dr. Kang Hyunwoo stepped forward, consulting a handheld device. Your current defensive grid incorporates Zephyrian energy barriers, Corvaxi sensor networks, synthetic collective automated systems, and several others. We have extensive experience with all of these technologies. President Yoon gestured to the holographic displays showing Admiral Crix's report. We are not here to demonstrate superiority or issue threats. We are here to offer the Confederation a choice that will determine the future of this region of the galaxy. What kind of choice? Veltar demanded, though his weapon remained non-functional. Partnership or isolation, Ambassador Shin replied. Earth seeks peaceful integration with galactic civilization, but we will not accept subjugation or conquest. The question is whether the Confederation can accept humanity as an equal member species. Equal? Several delegates protested simultaneously. You are a single world with no history of interstellar civilization. Dr. Kang smiled slightly. That assessment is no longer accurate. Perhaps Admiral Crix should share the complete intelligence package we provided her. Admiral Crix activated additional displays reluctantly. The humans have established military and civilian installations across 17 star systems. Their total population exceeds 12 billion across multiple worlds. Their industrial capacity rivals the major Confederation powers. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. A species that had appeared primitive just 3 years ago now controlled territory, comparable to established galactic civilizations. How is this expansion possible? Minister Zul asked. Time. President Yoon replied simply. Humanity has been exploring space for longer than the galaxy realized. We kept our colonies hidden to avoid attracting the attention that Earth eventually received. The attacks on our homeworld only accelerated development that was already underway. Ambassador Shin activated her own holographic display, showing detailed star maps. What you have been calling the Earth problem is actually the emergence of human civilization as a major galactic power. The question is whether this emergence happens through cooperation or conflict. And if we choose conflict? Commander Veltar challenged. Dr. Kang consulted his device again. Based on analysis of Confederation military doctrine and historical behavior patterns, any war between our species would last approximately 14 years and result in the collapse of Central Confederation authority. You cannot predict military outcomes with that precision, Veltar protested. Actually, we can, Dr. Kang replied calmly. We have detailed intelligence about Confederation fleet strengths, supply lines, political stability, and member species loyalty levels. Our strategic models incorporate data from 17 different alien military organizations. President Yoon moved to the center of the chamber. Commander Veltar, you are correct that war outcomes are never certain, but we have advantages that make Confederation victory highly unlikely. We have studied your military extensively through captured databases. You know almost nothing about our true capabilities. More importantly, Ambassador Shin added, humanity has no interest in ruling the galaxy or destroying existing civilizations. We want to participate in galactic trade, cultural exchange, and scientific cooperation. War benefits no one. Minister. Zul's crystalline form shifted to a calmer green color. What exactly are you proposing? Full diplomatic recognition of human territory and sovereignty, President Yoon replied. Establishment of trade agreements and cultural exchange programs, mutual defense cooperation against external threats. In short, everything the Confederation already does with major member species. In exchange for what? Veltar asked suspiciously. Technology sharing, strategic cooperation, and most importantly, guaranteed peace in this region of the galaxy, Ambassador Shin explained. Earth's defensive capabilities could benefit Confederation security interests significantly. Dr. Kang brought up additional displays showing human technological innovations. We have made significant advances in areas where galactic civilization has stagnated. Our adaptation-based research methods produce results faster than traditional scientific approaches. The examples were impressive. Human improvements to captured alien technology often exceeded the performance of original systems by significant margins. Their ability to integrate multiple technological approaches created solutions that no single species had achieved. Why? Should we trust you? Commander Veltar demanded. Your species destroyed 17 fleets without mercy. Because we destroyed them only when they came as conquerors, President Yoon replied. Admiral Crix's fleet returned safely because it came as observers. The difference in our response should be instructive. Admiral Crix stood up from her position. The humans are correct. They had multiple opportunities to destroy my ships and chose not to. Their actions match their stated intentions. However, she continued, we should not underestimate what they have become. The intelligence package they provided contains detailed analysis of Confederation weaknesses that I had never considered. They know us better than we know ourselves. Ambassador Shin nodded acknowledgement. That knowledge was necessary to ensure our survival, but we prefer to use it for cooperation rather than conflict. The choice belongs to the Confederation. What about the other major powers? Minister Zul asked. The hegemony of Trill, the Aquatic Federation, the Crystalline Matriarchy? How do they factor into your plans? Dr. Kang smiled. We have already established preliminary contact with several major civilizations. Our diplomatic missions are currently active in 16 different sectors. Earth's emergence as a galactic power is not limited to Confederation space. The implication was clear. While the Confederation debated what to do about humanity, the humans were already building relationships throughout the galaxy. You have been busy, Veltar observed grimly. We learned the value of preparation from our early encounters with galactic civilization, President Yoon replied. Reactive defense is insufficient. Proactive diplomacy and strategic planning are necessary for long-term survival. However, we prefer to build relationships with the Confederation first, Ambassador Shin added. Your organization represents the largest concentration of civilized species in this region. Partnership with the Confederation would provide stability and mutual benefit. Minister Zul rose from her position. What guarantees can you offer that humanity will not become aggressive once established as a galactic power? The same guarantees that any civilization provides. Mutual interest in continued prosperity and survival, President Yoon answered. But I can offer something more specific. Dr. Kang activated a new display showing human colonies and installations. Every human world is connected through our communication and supply networks. Any aggressive action by one world would be immediately known to all others. Our political structure prevents individual human worlds from acting independently in military matters. Additionally, Ambassador Shin continued, human strategic thinking operates on much longer timescales than most species. We measure success in generations rather than years. Short-term military conquest provi.